Well, big changes are coming for New York City's grocery delivery workers. The city's Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection voted to pass a bill that would raise wages and improve conditions for thousands of app-based grocery delivery workers. It now moves on to the City Council for a vote. And joining us now to discuss is New York City Council member Sandy Nurse, who was among the lawmakers to sponsor this bill. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And what does having this bill pass the committee mean for thousands of delivery workers in New York City?
So thank you for having me. What this means is that grocery delivery workers and food delivery workers are going to essentially have pay parity. So they will get a minimum of $21.44 per hour. Some grocery delivery workers are making something like $13 an hour, some even lower than that. And in the past, in 2021, the council passed the bill for food delivery workers, which it was a huge historic win for these workers. It delivered about $1 billion in wages already just from that law. And so we're doing the same thing because we found that grocery delivery workers do the same stuff. They're doing similar tasks. They have the same risks. They're facing similar exploitation by the apps. And so this is just guarantees that no matter if they're working as a little side hustle or using this for their primary income, that they will be paid a minimum wage.
And what prompted you and your fellow lawmakers to push for this legislation now?
Yeah, well, for me in the past, I actually used to be a food delivery worker for a year once, and this was before e-bikes. And so I understand this work. I understand how hard it is. The demand by consumers is strong. People want their food fast. And it's the same with grocery delivery workers. When you put in an order, you want your stuff on time, and that puts a lot of pressure on workers. And we want to make sure that as this industry is growing, that we are protecting these workers and that they have a minimum pay wage. These apps are making millions and millions of dollars precisely because they have thousands of workers that they have very little obligations to. And we want to make sure that we increase those protections.
And what do you say to critics who argue that these bills could raise prices for customers or limit access to affordable groceries?
Yeah, I mean, these are demand-driven products. You're paying for the luxury and the convenience of having those groceries delivered. These services are generally offering EBT and SNAP. If they choose to raise the prices on customers, that's certainly at their discretion. We hope they don't. We believe that their profit margins can withstand that. But, it is my belief that if you have built a business model that will not survive paying your workers a minimum wage, it's not a successful business model, and you're going to have to adjust it.
And what's next, and how will the city enforce this minimum wage and timely payment rule?
So what's next is the agency is going to develop the rule for how these folks get paid and how they calculate the minimum pay wage and their schedules. Some of the things we're looking at next are trying to prevent workers from being deactivated from the apps. A lot of workers are waiting around, and sometimes there's just not enough work, or sometimes there's retaliatory measures, and the apps will literally deactivate those workers from being able to access their platform for work. So we want to make sure that workers are not being retaliated against because they're organizing, because they're standing up for their rights, and protect them.
All right. City Council member Sandy Nurse, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for covering it.
And for more of our coverage on the proposed bill, head over to cbsnewyork.com.